The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning. Welcome to our webinar this morning. We have Catherine Robertson, who will be your presenter, and we are having a webinar this morning on the TIMS system, the Transportation Information Mapping System. We appreciate you joining us for the webinar. A couple of housekeeping items, then I'm going to hand things over to Catherine. First off, we were going to attempt to record the webinar, but I just got a message that that is not working. So it's good that you're here live and in person. You'll be able to view the webinar. Now, we do have other recordings that we've done in the past. So I'll make sure when we're all done that you get a link to one of the previous recordings. So also, we do have you in muted state form to kind of cut down on background noise while Catherine's presenting, but we have a question box, and I encourage you throughout our presentation to put whatever questions you have in that box. I will be reading those off to Catherine for her response. And the more questions you ask, the better, because that way you can learn to use the system. And it's an incredible system. It'll just definitely make your life much easier and the work you have to do much easier as well. So with that, are you ready, Catherine?
I'm ready.
Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. So as Victoria said, today we're going to step through ODOT's Transportation Information Mapping System, our web map application that serves as a publishing portal for all of the roadway-related information that we make available here at ODOT. So I'm sharing my screen, and I have it on our on ODOT's homepage, and you may recognize that it's a new homepage with different style. So if you are used to going to the homepage and clicking on the TIMS link, obviously that's not there anymore. So I wanted to start here and show you that it's still really easy. You'll just want to go to the search icon in the title bar, the top right of the screen. And if you click that, you just type in TIMS. And hit enter, and you're going to get the TIMS link as the very first result. So it takes you to our technical services portal page, and you'll see that it also has links to the other departments within technical services, traffic monitoring, and highway infrastructure. And if you scroll to the bottom, there is a link to register for webinars like this or our in-person training classes. And the launch button that will take you to the TIMS website. But before I do that, I also want to highlight this link for TIMS videos. And that's going to open our YouTube channel, Transcript TV, and I hadn't seen this in a while. This is an older video, 2015, but it's only 1 minute, so I thought that we would watch it and then step through some of the questions that it poses in this video. And also note there's a full playlist of how to do different things within TIMS once you click that link, so you're welcome to come back later and watch any of these. So hopefully I'll adjust the volume if it sounds too loud, but we'll just watch this for 1 minute.
Catherine, I'm not hearing any sound on.
Okay.
So is have you move your, are you hearing it on your end?
I am, but it's okay. We don't have to go
Maybe
through
you
the
can
whole
just
thing.
narrate it.
I could do that. Yeah, let's keep going. So it's asking,
Okay.
it's asking questions. How do you find the snow and ice removal priority along roads? How can you locate railroad crossings? Try to navigate your heavy loads by looking up roadway widths. Find environmental data such as wetlands. So we're going to step through some of those scenarios. So a nice flashback. Okay, better data, better decisions. That's still our mission. So I'm going to close that, but I thought it was worthwhile to highlight. We do have a lot of videos, and while they are a few years old, they're still very relevant for what you can do in TIMS. So back at the portal page, I'm going to click Launch. And here's the familiar TIMS website. And just the regular housekeeping steps that I go through. You can click the logo at the top left. That will always bring you back to this homepage with the navigation buttons. Down at the bottom in the gray footer, the contact link will include this email address, and you're welcome to send any questions or data requests here for any of the data that's available on TIMS. If we don't have the answer here in Tech Services, we can forward you to the expert for that particular data. And the news link, sorry. Soon we will get the 2020 schedule for the upcoming classes loaded onto this page, so you can check back there later. Okay, so let's get started with one of the questions that was posed in that video. What highway projects are scheduled near a location for this year? So the fastest way to get started with that question is to go to our project search page. And here we have some search tools that make it easy to filter out, and you can see it remembered the last time I was here. It remembered what I was searching. I'm going to click Reset to clear it all out. And you'll see at the bottom, it's pulling in over 56,000 records. Over 63,000 records. It still has a query in there. But we're going to filter that down to what's relevant for our location. You can start with district or just go straight to the county dropdown. Let's pick Union. And then let's see what's happening in this fiscal year through next fiscal year. So you can see that it's filtered down 44 entries. I'm still viewing 5 at a time, so I can change that and view all 44. And now I can navigate this results table. I can just click any column header to sort. And here we go. I can see that this project ID number, the PID, I have multiple locations for this one PID. And I can get information about each location and that PID overall by clicking this View Details button. And here it has all the attributes for that project that we bring in from Ellis. And you can scroll down and get information on construction date, so you'll know when the ODOT crews will be in that area. There's information about funding, associated bridges, and there's links to project proposals and project plans. Those may not be loaded if it's a project that's happening in the future, but I believe once it is awarded, those will be loaded in there. And you can see this one is due to be awarded towards the end of this year. So I can see that this project is going to have construction on State Route 37 and State Route 4. Say I'm concerned about State Route 37, but I also will want to look further into each of the locations for this project. So I'm just going to click to select. And then I'm going to see if anything else in this next fiscal year in Union County is going to be on State Route 37. And I can use this generic search box tool, knowing that we store our routes in this 5-character format with padded with leading zeros. I can just search 00037. And you'll see that I have a couple of other PIDs that are also going to have work on State Route 37. So I'm just going to click to also select those. And now I want to send all of these over to our map page. So I'm just going to click View and Map. And you'll see that it divides my results. Change my base map here. You'll see that it divides our results into points and lines. And that's based on the type of location information that is entered into Ellis. If it gives us just a starting location, we will map that as a point, and that usually represents work on a bridge or a culvert. If they give us a starting and ending location, we can map that along the roadway. So that's why you'll see it in two different forms. You'll see it's loaded the results table for project lines. And just like the results table on the project search page, I can navigate that by sorting, and it has all of the same attributes that we saw on that project information page, but now just in a spreadsheet format. So you can see those links to the project plans, award milestone dates, construction dates. And if I wanted to switch to view the project points, I just click on the down arrow over the project, the result layer button, and say show attributes, and it will just switch. Now I'm viewing project points. Again, we have that search tool here if you wanted to try to narrow down the results that you're viewing in this table. And you can export these out. We have the export tool available throughout TIMS. So the standard formats, Excel, KML, a shapefile, or a geodatabase if you're a GIS user. I can select individual records and then zoom to the individual feature, or I can use the zoom to results button at the top to zoom to all of the results. And I'm already zoomed to all the results. And I can just minimize this results pane so I can view more of the map within my screen. Okay, so we've found our location of Union County, and we saw all the projects that were planned in the near future, and we've zoomed into some projects of interest. And so now to move on to one of the next questions, how do I figure out if the roads are wide enough to get my trucks to these construction sites? So in order to get the road width information, we are going to turn on our road inventory under the roadway information category. And you'll see we have a lot of ways to view this roadway information. We will start with the main layer, roadway inventory. And we can see it's categorized, switch over to our legend. It's categorized by the route type. And if we want to see the attributes for one individual record, the easiest way is to use our Identify Features tool. So we're going to click this I button in the left pane at the top toolbar. And that's going to activate the tool, and then we'll just click over a feature. And any of the features that we have turned on that intersect the selection box where we clicked, it's going to pull up the results. So if there are multiple tables, like our search results for projects and also our road inventory, they'll show in this drop-down list. So now we can see all of the attributes for this one individual record. And if we scroll all the way down, we can find our surface width for the left and the right, and we'll see it's 13. I'm not a construction expert, so I don't know how wide that needs to be. But say you know exactly, and you need to find a route to this location. You need to find the roadways that have a minimum width. So in order to do that, we could use our filter tools. And I'm back at the toolbar and the funnel-shaped icon, Filter Data. I'm going to click the drop-down list and filter by attributes. And again, I'll pick from the layers that I have turned on. So I'll pick roadway inventory. And I know the field that I'm looking for now. So I can filter that out just by typing, and then I'll search, let's do the left width is at least 13. And I could click search now, but if you think about the entire road inventory database, that's for the entire state. So I'm going to have a lot of results. What I can do is narrow that down even more by adding a filter and picking just Union County. Okay. And now when I click search, of course it was 1 second when I did it right before the webinar, but there we go. So these are all of the roadways in Union County that are going to fit that criteria, and you can see that they're selected. And you might be able to guess that it's created a another results table, just like it did when we searched our projects. So if I wanted to zoom back into my area so that it's also drawing that road inventory layer, and I only want to view my selected filtered by attributes. So I can turn off the main layer, and now I'm seeing just those records. And I can view the attribute table, of course, show attributes, and I've hidden that, so I just have to click the arrow again to bring that results table pane back up. So you can get more information that way. And obviously, you're not going to get a very wide truck into this location in rural Union County in Richwood, Ohio. But you know, if you're in the construction crew, you'll know what's valid and what data to search with. So hopefully that's still a good example. And I turned that off. You see, I just clicked it to turn it off like any other layer. And so now let's say I've got information on the roadway widths. One of the other questions in that video is what are the latest traffic volumes for a specific interchange, and that's really easy to access. Back again under our roadway information data grouping, we're going to turn on traffic AADT, average annual daily traffic, and zoomed in. At this level already, it's going to draw our labels, and it's going to be symbolized by the traffic counts. We can switch over to the legend to see that. And again, fairly low counts in this rural area, but it will give you an idea if you have to shut down a roadway, how many people will be affected. And if we want to get more information on the traffic counts for one segment, again, we'll just activate our Identify Features tool, click over a segment, and here's all the attributes in that traffic AADT table. Just listed out to make it easy to read. And if you scroll all the way down, you'll see a link to the traffic portal. Our sometimes called TMMS system or MS2 system has a lot more information, and another team within the Office of Technical Services manages all of this data. So if you do have questions or you need specific counts that aren't available right there in TIMS, you're welcome to email us and we'll forward you on to the traffic team. Okay. So to get more information about this site, if we want to know if this site is part of a wetland or a floodplain, we can see what we have available in our environmental data grouping. So we'll turn off our traffic layer just to clear the screen. And we're going to look to see what we have in this environmental data grouping. So there are lots of maintenance restrictions as determined by different environmental factors. We have a historic bridge inventory, noise walls. Here we have a national wetland inventory, so that will be useful. And again, lots of specific land cover and soil type and EPA databases that you can get information about by searching our data glossary, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But let's turn on our National Land Cover database. This is a large data set, so it may take a minute.
While you're pulling that up, there aren't any questions yet, but I wanted to mention that I did put a handout in the handout section of the chat pod that has all the upcoming training dates for your in-person TIMS training.
Perfect, thank
If
you.
anyone's interested in that, no problem.
I'll get that
And
loaded onto our link today.
oh, that's fine. And if people have questions, please definitely put them in the chat pod and I'll read them off. Thanks.
So we can see that this National Land Cover Database also includes wetlands. And again, the fastest way to see what these symbols represent is to switch to our legend. And we can see it's going to categorize by if it's cropland or residential area, types of wetland. I don't see anything about floodplain there. I do know where the floodplain information is. We keep that in a specific map viewer just for environmental issues, and I'll come back to that. Wanted to make sure we have time. I think we definitely will, though. So let's see. So we'll go to the environmental map viewer in a minute, but I wanted to make sure I covered other ways that you can link to different websites and portals from within TIMS. We saw how you can link to the traffic information, and we saw from your projects, there are the links to the project plans. And since I was picking newer projects, most likely they don't have the documents loaded. But let's click a link so you can see how that website will appear. So it'll take you to digital paper. It's managed by our Office of Contracts. And if there was a plan here, it would be a PDF. It would be listed here under the documents, and you would just click to open it. It would open the PDF with the drawings of the site. Again, you can look if you're looking at any individual record and in the identify tool or in the table. You can always scroll to the end to see if there's a hyperlink, and they're always going to be added towards the end of the table. But then we also have a few links under this Tools menu. ODOT PathWeb is a really useful one. And you just, again, click to activate that tool. You'll know it's activated because your icon will change to the crosshairs. You just click over a roadway, and it will open our PathWeb system, zoom to that location. And this is the van that drives around. You may have seen it. It has the lasers that are getting information on the pavement here. It has cameras all around the van to give a good street view. And you can just click play, go down the roadway, or go one at a time, and you'll see it's all navigating you together. So that's a really good resource. And recently they also added information for the segments that you're viewing. You can see the PCR, pavement condition rating, the average annual daily traffic, that's all vehicles, and the average annual daily truck traffic, and that's going to be truck vehicles. So you can get even more information in one spot. As usual, I've gone much faster. Okay, so if you want to get information about individual data sets, you want to know all the fields that are there from the results table. If you're already looking at that particular table, so we already have a queried out results for the project table, you can click this Show Hide Columns, and that's a quick way to get a list of all of the fields that are listed. You can also turn some off or turn them all off and only recheck a few. Or you can go to our data glossary, and here you'll find field descriptions for all the data sets that are available in the Create a Map page. So you can just scroll down to find what you're looking for, or you can type to filter. So let's see. Our projects are, the table is called Ellis. That's our project management application. And you can scroll through to see descriptions of codes that are in certain fields. You can hover over the question mark icon for any field to get information about when this data set was last updated. And you'll see that our projects are updated daily. So it was updated yesterday. It runs nightly, so it'll update again later this evening. And we also looked at the land cover database, so I can choose that one. And you'll see it'll give a description of those codes. And these descriptions were also represented in the legend. If you're looking for a particular field, but you don't know which data set, you can clear out this box and just search here. So say NLF ID, that's how we categorize and give a unique ID to all of our roadways. Of course, that field is going to exist in almost every table. We attach it to almost every table. But you can see, you can get a list of everywhere that field's going to exist. Okay, so let's now go to that environmental map viewer that I had mentioned. And just as a recap, we'll go back to our TIMS homepage. And our Create a Map link gets us to that main map page. When we did a search through the project search page and chose View and Map, it sent us to this Create a Map link. So here's how it would look if you just went straight to the site. None of the layers are turned on. But it has the most information. And it's designed to make it applicable, more generic, so that it's more applicable to anyone that's searching for data. A lot of times we will have offices request just a subset of information, or maybe an additional data set that might not be useful to everyone, or they want to see it symbolized a different way. And in those situations, we will create a map viewer. So the link is up here, or again from the homepage. So here's a list of offices or subjects that have requested individual map viewers, and all of these are publicly available, so you're welcome to click through and see if there's anything of interest. We're just going to look at the environmental map viewer today, because we're circling back to that question and trying to see if we have information on floodplains. You'll see we have a data grouping just for flood hazard information. So we can scroll through to see what's here. I do want to note, though, that there may not be an entry into the data glossary for data sets that are only in the map viewers. But if you have questions, of course, you know where to get the email, and we welcome all of your questions. So let's see. I'm not the expert on flood information, but we'll go with that one. Flood hazards, flood hazard boundaries, and we can zoom back in to the Ridgewood area. A lot of these larger data sets will only draw once you're zoomed in, and that's in an effort to keep TIMS running faster and minimizing what you see scroll, the scroll icon while you're waiting. So there's something. I should probably be more of an expert on a lot of these data sets. I guess Ridgewood is not in threat of flooding. High water marks, okay. Anyways, once you find the data that you are looking for, we also have all the project information, so you could still pull that up by using the same query tools just like we did in the previous, to create a map viewer. While I'm looking at this project's data category, I'll highlight this current projects filter. So this is useful if you're already looking at an area and you just want to see what's happening in the area right now. And this just takes our full project database and filters it by the construction dates. If those match the current date or include the current date, then those will show through here. And since I can use this PID in the label as an example, I'll go back over again how you would filter. So if you knew your PID and you just wanted to bring it up directly as one of those search results, again, you could do your filter by attributes and PID. "104, 168." So just like most systems, there's multiple ways to accomplish what you're trying to do. And there you go, it brought it up in my results window. And even though, see, I'm still in my environmental map viewer, the only difference is going to be the options that are available here in my layers. All of the functionality is exactly the same. So all of my tools will work exactly the same. Okay. One more thing that is really useful is the ability to share a certain location in layers. And we have this smaller toolbar at the top right of the map window where you can set your base map. You may have seen me do that earlier. You can print a basic PDF of the map window, or you can generate a URL that will remember the location that you're zoomed into and the layers that you had turned on. So I could paste that into an email or into another browser window, and it will take me right back to that same view. And we'll look at one more option in the base maps, our OSIP, Ohio Statewide Imagery Program, where the state is flown on a 2-year cycle to get high quality aerial photographs. And you can just choose the best available. It will automatically default to the best quality photo that's in the either OSIP 1 or OSIP 2. So if you combine our OSIP base map and our path web links and links to traffic information or contracts, there's a lot of information that you can get right here from the TIMS website. Let's see if we can get someone to ask a question or a topic that they would like to see more information about, and I'll spend some time going through that.
Well, there's nothing in the chat
I
pod
know.
right now. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Everyone's happy to get their credit, so I'll just keep going through. I'll just keep going through some of the options, and
Okay.
hope that you see something that's useful.
If anything pops up in the question pod, though, any recommendations, I'll be happy to read them off to you.
Okay. Let's see if I can remember that PID. Another way, if you know the PID that you're looking for, at our homepage, you can search that PID exactly. Luckily, my browser saves everything, so I'm pretty sure that's going to be a valid PID that I had searched for at one time. Just click the search button. And if there are multiple locations for that PID, it's going to bring you to this search page where it can list all those locations. If there was only one location, it's going to take you directly to that details page, which again, I can get to for individual records by clicking this icon to the left of each individual record. So if you just click the button, it's going to bring up this details page in the same browser tab. You may have noticed last time I do a right click, open a new tab. I do that a lot so that I don't lose my place and I can go right back to the previous tab. But you can also just click the back button and it will remember your queries. So let's see if this project has any plans loaded. This will be a good example. So I'm just going to select it and open it, and you'll see it's downloaded the PDF. Depending on your district, the behavior may be that it will download a PDF document, or it may open a viewer right there in that window. So here's a good example of project plans, and it's going to have everything laid out for the construction that will happen in the roadways. Oh yeah, I just cleared it out, but that's okay. TIMS is so easy, I can get right back there. So I'd wanted to show, if I just click this button in the same tab, I can go right back and it will remember. Pull up those same records. One thing I like to highlight about the projects, and I clicked reset to reload all of our projects. I'll switch to 5 just so you can see 5 records and this the information in the footer below. So I'm looking at all the records. And in many cases, you'll see these are the location. How we map the location of the project is based on these 3 fields: route, CTL begin, and CTL end, and that stands for county township log. So it's a log point along the roadway. And you'll see if it begins at the beginning of this Route 66 and it goes to log point 2.46, so you can think, 2.4 miles. And in a lot of locations, let's see if I can get an example, you're only going to have a beginning log point. If I narrow it down, there we go. So, and you'll see those are usually going to be associated with a bridge location. We pull in the bridge information from SMS, Structures Management System, and we don't pull in the beginning and end, the full length of the bridge. We only pull in the beginning coordinate. So that explains why you'll bring information into the map page as either a point or a line. Yeah, this is a good reminder that your browser is going to remember the last base map that you had set. While we have seen a couple of things be slow in today's webinar, surprisingly, it loaded the entire state of the statewide imagery. A lot of times, if it tries to default to that OSIP base map, you'll just get a white screen and the loading icon will just spin and spin, and you may think that TIMS is broken, but it's just trying to load that full base map. So a good thing to try is just to switch the base map and see if that loads right away. And we'll do an overview of the data grouping so you can get an idea of everything that is available in TIMS. So under our assets, we're going to have a lot of the assets that are collected along the road, anything that is a part of our collector program or asset management program. As those are developed, we bring them into TIMS as well. And so as fields are collecting this information, or as field crews are collecting this information in the field, in most cases, it's updated nightly, and you'll see new records in TIMS the very next day.
Catherine, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Not from the chat pod, but just from one thing that we work on in LTAP. We work with the townships on the sign grant program.
Okay.
And I see that you have a sign inventory button for data.
Yes.
Is that something that if a township were to complete their sign inventory, could they then provide it for upload into TIMS, or could another local jurisdiction? And how does that sign inventory data work in the system?
So the sign inventory that we have now is going to be for the state-maintained roadways. If a local township or municipality also had that inventory available, I would have to refer to our asset management team to see if they also incorporate that. You can see when I zoom in, we've only got those on the state-maintained roadways right now. If they have a data set that they want to view in TIMS to compare, there's a way, if say they have a shapefile or a spreadsheet with coordinate systems, they can load that into TIMS to view it alongside our TIMS data sets through this Add Data tool. And this is only going to be for one browser session. So if they load it in once and then close down TIMS, come back the next day, they would have to load it in again. But once it is loaded in, they do have these tools available. The filter tool, the identify tool would work, and you would be able to view those results in the results table. If they have assigned inventory in a GIS mapping format and they want to compare to our statewide inventory, they can download our entire data set from our data downloads page. So we'll look at that for a minute. And our assets that are updated nightly, we also pre-package a new data download, and that's just to make it fast. It's the full data set as up to date as possible. The users just need to remember that if I download the sign inventory today and then there are changes made, tomorrow or next week, I would have to come back and download that again. Let's see. Yeah, so here's sign supports, and it would be nice if this was in alphabetical order, but in here somewhere is the sign inventory. Oh my gosh, where is it? There it is. So you can select as many data sets as you want and then export to your chosen format, and it will download a zipped folder with the data set zipped inside.
Great, thank you. I mean, this system just has limitless capabilities, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's growing all the time. We're adding new data sets all the time. We're in the very beginning stages of going through a process to upgrade and expand the capabilities of TIMS. So that'll be, next year maybe before we can release a newer version. But things that we are keeping in mind for the next life cycle of TIMS is how to keep all this information best organized, how to make it easy for the users to find. So like our ODOT homepage now is really search-based, and you can just search in TIMS and it makes it really easy to find what you're looking for. We're hoping to incorporate some of that into the TIMS site as well.
We did get a question in the chat pod.
All right.
It's from Nathan Saylor. He says, is there a list of static links somewhere where data sets can be downloaded via scripts?
Okay, so if you want to download full data sets, we don't have like an RTP site or FTP site where you can just go and click them all. If that's something that you were interested in, you could reach out to us. All of the websites are published as REST services, and we also have WMS services. So if you're familiar with those technologies, we can make those URLs available if that's something that you're interested in as well. I don't know, if you're really familiar with GIS, then all that will make sense, but if not, it sounds confusing. So I would just invite Nathan to send us an email, and we can give him the URL for all of our REST endpoints. You can download data that way, or if he's really interested in being able to link to all of our prepackaged zip files, I'm pretty sure we could make that available as well.
Wonderful, thank you. Nathan, if that didn't answer your question, go ahead and type in the pod again, but hopefully that did. Thanks.
So hopefully you don't get overwhelmed by all the data that's available in TIMS. You can think of it as the first place to go when you're searching for, if you have any questions related to the roadway and you're searching for information. And if you have an idea of what you're searching for, but you're not sure where to find it within TIMS, again, we get questions all the time through email or phone call, and the link here, so it has contact information. Again, there's that email address. You're always welcome to reach out to us and we can work with you to make sure you can find what you need. I think that's about it from me today, if no one has any more questions.
Okay, sounds good. So we appreciate everybody's time on the webinar today. Thank you so much. It's always great information. And no other questions have come into the chat pod, so we're going to end things a little bit early today, but we appreciate everybody's time on the webinar. Thanks again, Catherine.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody.